I'm Steve Mancuso. I'm the high school principal at ACS Amman.
Hello, I'm Michael O'Leary, and I am a high school history and economics teacher here at ACS.
Hi, I'm Mr. LeBlanc. I'm the chemistry teacher at ACS.
Okay, I'm Tim Chuckerlin. I'm a psychology teacher at ACS and also a coach, a girls basketball coach. I think those students are highly motivated, and they'll succeed no matter what they do because they're trying to do so many different things.
I'm extremely impressed by how well our students do in balancing those things. Because a colleague of mine once said, there's nobody busier than a busy high school student.
Well, I believe student athletes have to be an example to the rest of the student body because they are choosing to take on extra responsibilities. So I expect them to maintain their current quality of work in the classroom and also maintain their academic or their sports responsibilities. From my own experiences of being a student athlete and being a coach, I know that there are greater challenges, but those are chosen challenges, and I think student athletes need to do it better than everyone else. To be honest, I never deal with that all that well. When I was in high school and in college, the idea that you got extra time to do anything is a very alien concept to me. Now, I do acknowledge that the travel time and being away for days on end is something that I did not experience as a student athlete. But so with that in mind, I'm okay with giving the amount of time that the letter of the law allows.
In the classroom, yes, I do, and it takes a lot of different forms. Sometimes my athletes are more focused because I think they have that as a reward. They try hard in class because they know if they don't do well, they might not be able to perform. But I also have some other athletes too that find themselves overwhelmed with all the things that are happening and they can't keep up with class, so they end up missing a lot of things.
My 6 years here, yes, I've seen a significant drop-off in terms of when athletes are in season versus when they're off season. And I have to say, my own personal experiences, I did have a slight little drop-off during the peak or the tournament time during a certain football or baseball season. You're just crunched for time, and something has to give because you only have so much time in your day. The goal is to make sure that drop-off isn't very significant, and unfortunately I do see a significant drop-off here.
I think often one thing I talk to my students about is being sure that they can manage their workload, their course load. For example, with me personally, even with other subjects, and then being able to commit to training, to traveling, to games, and just to do overall commit to a team. It's important to understand what your commitments are. It's important to be realistic with your commitments and know that you only have a certain amount of time to both, and you just really kind of have to try your best to sort of fulfill both commitments. You might, often sport runs for a short time of the year, and you might be maximizing your time with sport, and your academics might take a bit of a hit, and that's quite a normal flow. But it's important to realize that during a day you have a set amount of time that you should be spending towards your work and a set amount of time that you should be spending towards academics.
The drop-off, I think, is in terms of the quality of the work and being able to stay current in the class. And I think what usually happens is students fall behind in terms of keeping up the workload, and then that has a cumulative effect so that when they are expected to sit larger evaluations, they haven't had time to process it, or they're trying to play catch-up. And I think that is the major factor in causing the drop-off.
So I zone out in class, I don't know, once in a while, not too much. A lot more lately because I've been stressed out with senior project and a whole bunch of other things, but we have practices 4 times a week, usually between 6 and 8 hours a week. I don't usually go to bed until 11 or 12, sometimes if I'm lucky 10.
I zone out in class a lot. Actually, it depends on the teacher. Like if I have a really fun teacher like Mr. Isley, we don't do much. But Mr. Eid, he's really boring. In a normal season of basketball, we practice around 4 to 6 hours, I think. And so usually I go to bed around 10-ish or 10, 11-ish. With stress and lack of time, I continue playing because I love sports. Like, that's mainly it.
Honestly, I think some difficulties that I face being on a sports team is basically trying to keep up with class, even on normal days, because we usually have practices late and sometimes local games, and that like really gets you tired. So basically, I guess I don't know. It's hard keeping up with class. You know, like sometimes you just fall asleep in class. Like it's pretty harsh.
I find some students that when they don't have the structure of a sport in their life, they sort of let down a little bit. They don't have a coach telling them what to do, so sometimes they slack off. And I found myself when I was in college, when I performed well in school is when I was actually competing. When I stopped competing and I didn't have the structure, that's when my grades started dropping a little bit. Some teachers expect that students should perform great in their class, and then when they don't, if they go from an A to a B, the teachers get all upset about it. But for me as a teacher, I think it's just as important to be involved with activities. I'd rather be a student that got, you know, B's and C's and some A's, but participated in all these different things than to be a student that was straight A's and didn't do anything.
About that, I think about my life after high school and how I just always seemed to be running around in high school from football practice to basketball practice to hockey practice and maybe fitting some schoolwork in there. So it is a busy time. But you know, it's something you really want to enjoy at the time, and I'm glad students get involved in these things.
I guess the best thing about being on a sports team is the fact that maybe everybody knows you. I don't know, like for me, like it's always been a thing. It's always been a thing, like to be on a sports team since 6th grade. And I feel like, you know, just having that like family feel to the team. It just like, I like that feeling. And like, you get to know new people, you get to make friends, and like, I don't know, it's just a nice thing to have. In my opinion, I think it's very hard catching up on work, especially when you travel a lot. Like for example, for me, I travel first like for basketball, and then I come back. 2 days after that, I went to track, and so I think that affected my studies a lot. So I try to like, as soon as I come back, just boom, go back to like studying like, every day, and like, it takes a long time, but I guess it's worth it. Like, 'cause I really have fun traveling and everything, and I really like being on sports teams. So I guess like that's a plus, and then kind of like everything has a bad side, you know, and catching up is actually the bad side of traveling with school.
My sports and academic life, they blend together very nicely actually. Like I'll get home from basketball and I'll go straight into my homework, and I feel like I'm more focused and concentrated on homework after basketball practices.
I maintain time for both my sports and academic life because I plan ahead and I do my homework, so I have time for practice, and so I'm not like crunched and everything. Why did I travel? Because even though I'm injured, because my parents bought the tickets. Also, I love my basketball team, and I had to go support them.
Yeah, character for sure, because there's you have to step up and be a leader. Even if you're not the best player on the team, you still have to show character. And my philosophy on sport, I'd rather have 10 athletes that are that show good character and leadership and trustworthy and coachability, rather than have the 10 best athletes in the school. So there's what people define an athlete as is different for everybody, but I think that's important.
Years ago, when I started coaching football in Canada, you know, we'd have these extremely talented athletes who wouldn't do very well academically. And I remember sitting in the staff room with colleagues and they're going, "Oh, that kid, he's so problematic, whatever." I said, "Have you ever gone to watch him play basketball or hockey or football, where you see their real talent And then you can talk to them and say, hey, I saw you in the game on Friday. That was a great game. I really liked how you did this or this. And it opens a whole venue for conversations with students that don't have to do with your class or your grades or things like that. And I think teachers engage so much better with students when they have a relationship with them, when they're watching them as fans and they see what their talents really are. Because not all kids are talented in the classroom, but there certainly are some very talented students who have talents in other areas. And we as teachers need to see where those talents lie and then be able to draw on those to be able to motivate them in the classroom. So, I encourage teachers to go watch students play. I enjoy watching them myself, and I think it really brings a lot to the school and a lot to the students.
Like, I've been a part of this team for so long, and I've played every match, and I was a starter. I would go down starting 5, and I feel like I grew with this team. And
whenever you watch them, you want to be on the court with them.
Yeah, but I was on the court with them. But the thing is, I couldn't travel, and then they got first, and I wasn't there to support them, and I was even supposed to be starting 5. It was great. It was great. But like, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Like
you
at the beginning you were part of something, and now you're not. And you just watch them, and you're like, I could be on
the court
if it wasn't for my altercations
exactly.
with certain teachers and whatnot.
I love coaching because you see a student in a different point of view. I see a lot of students in class and I don't really know them that well. They come to my class, they sit there, they pretend to enjoy the class, they do whatever. But when I see them on the court or on the field or on the track, I see a whole different person. And I respect that because there's people in this school that are unknown. But when you see them perform, for instance, on a track or on a stage or something like that, you see a whole different side of them. So for me, it makes me a little bit, it feels like we make more of a connection and we're a little bit closer, and I think that's important too.